stuff. I got the concerto trials, but I'd say I learned equally being out there, playing at Ronnie's when I was 19, doing my indie band stuff as much as I did from the institution.
Amazing. And you mentioned award there as well. Is that when you won your Tagore Gold Medal at that time as
Yeah, I
well?
did.
You did,
Yeah,
yeah. For
I
those that might,
know. It was a real
yeah,
shock, actually, that.
yeah. For those that might not know about the Tagore Gold Medal, which is obviously an amazing achievement, what is it actually all about, and how did you go about winning it?
Well, from what I remember, I think I won it in 2003, and it goes to one male and one female from the Royal College of Music for something like the most deserving students.
Hmm.
And it was a bit of a surprise because I just turned up to the normal graduation that we all did, and we were sort of sat there sort of nodding off, and there was some really sort of boring speech, and suddenly I just heard my name, and it was just so shocking. It was lovely because my father was still alive then, and my family were there, and that was one of those things that I hadn't quite realized, because I didn't think I would ever have been considered, because as I said, my career already by that point, was so diverse, and I didn't feel like I was the typical student. But it was lovely again, and maybe a bit of a sign of the change, that they recognized someone like me rather than their usual sort of RCM students.
Mm. I know that, looking briefly into it myself as well. Was it just for males before? Is that correct? And then they changed it a little
Yeah,
later on for both.
maybe. I don't know. But I know
Yeah.
I had to play in front of Prince Charles,
Oh
and he
wow.
recorded it for me, and that was amazing because he was actually a cellist. And we have his cello at the Royal College of Music. It still exists,
Oh
and
really?
they loan it out. And that was really lovely, actually, because I had to come after the BMUS, after my first degree. I went back and did a master's. Then I was a fellow for 2 years. So it was sort of the beginning of the next block, and I had to play a concert for him. And again, it was very, very special. I mean, it's always special. And I remember, though, really feeling it sort of, I understood, I felt empathy for him, because that day you're just having your photograph taken all the time. And I remember my cheeks smiling by the end of the day, red. I was like,
Felt like the
that's
hot
one
there.
day a year for me. The poor guy's got to go and do the same thing the next day, So I had a lot more respect for the royals after that.
Oh, of course. I mean, how does it feel to win such a prestigious award? It must be the best feeling ever for you
It
when you don't
was.
expect it, and then you win such an amazing award.
Yeah, well, I did. It was a great thing to have at the beginning of my career. But to be honest, I'd had such a tough time at the college. In my first year, I got a terrible mark for my first year recital because, I mean, it was just politics. I had my old teacher on the panel, my new teacher. I was decided, at one point I thought about maybe leaving for America because it wasn't going so well. And I just had this kind of really kind of illegal panel. He shouldn't have been, they were absolutely not, it shouldn't have been allowed to go ahead, because of course this teacher marked me down for wanting to leave her. And then I had another teacher on the panel who I said I didn't want to study with. And then I had my new teacher, this wonderful French teacher called Jérôme Panot, and Jérôme wasn't allowed to comment because he was my teacher.
Oh
So I
wow.
got this terrible email from the director saying, you're a double scholarship winner, you can never have this mark again, you might have your scholarships taken from you. And I knew
Oh
I
my
played a
God.
really good recital, I knew that, but I had to go through the pain and the shame. And basically my French teacher, who was so fabulous, said to me, Gabby, the mark has everything but the music. And from that moment on, I never relied on awards. It was just that Tagore was a really lovely thing, but there was so many things I didn't get,
Mm,
so many things. So I've always had to dig deep, and for me, it's my peers, and it's from what in I feel myself. That's what I've kind of gone from, really.
mm. Because sometimes all it takes is just that one person, that one teacher, that one mentor, just to give you that, just a bit of advice to keep you going and motivated, doesn't it?
Absolutely. And he was so good at that, because I was really broken, because I'd never really failed at anything. I was always really hardworking. I'd always done well. And then to see a mark so low, and it's not a terrible thing to have happened, actually, because it does make you reassess a lot of things. And
Mm.
then to have someone give such good advice, which I've taken from it. I judged a young musician at the year concert on Monday,
I
and I
saw.
gave the same advice.
Yeah.
Poor guy, his trumpeter like almost stormed off. He was pissed. But
Wow.
I said, look, this, it wasn't your night, but it doesn't mean that you're not fantastic. And if it was
Mm.
a different night, it could have been someone else. So I do feel like that advice you can pass on. I've done a lot of education since. It's always been really important to me.